Pauly.
Good evening. It's going to be one of tomorrow's top news stories, but we have it for you tonight. How millions of your tax dollars are helping to keep alcoholics and drug addicts hooked on their substance of choice. No, it wasn't supposed to be this way.
How did good intentions end up aiding and abetting drug addicts? Tomorrow, congressional hearings will be held to try and answer that question. But Dateline, together with Citizens Against Government Waste, has been investigating this for some time. As Deborah Roberts reports, you pay the bill.
Right towards your location right now. Okay, we'll come and get you then.
It's the first of the month, the day government checks arrive. Always a busy day on Denver's Skid Row.
How'd you get the bloody nose?
Over here.
Lots of drunks to pick up, including some who bought their booze courtesy of the American taxpayer. And here's how one drug addict used his first check from Uncle Sam, which with back benefits came to a whopping $2,500.
What'd you do with that $2,500?
Spend it on dope.
Spent it on drugs?
Yes, sir.
What kind of drugs?
Heroin.
The whole idea of just the federal government giving these people money to say buy drugs infuriates me. It contributes to deterioration of their mental health. It kills them.
But that's not what's supposed to happen. The government's Supplemental Security Income Program, SSI, was designed to offer help to poor Americans too old or disabled to work. Since addiction can be considered a disability too, 80,000 alcoholics and drug addicts also qualify. The idea is to give them enough money to support themselves while they get treatment. But critics say it rarely works that way.
You're killing them on the installment plan. The first of every month they die a little. All you want to do is drink anyway.
Bob Cote is a former alcoholic who now runs a shelter in Denver for alcoholics and addicts.
You're going to die out here, Albert.
For them, he says, SSI is a disaster.
The Social Security Department is the largest supplier of drugs and alcohol to addicts in America.
The whole point of this program is to try to get addicts off alcohol, off drugs. When do they get off the program?
They don't. They get on that train to nowhere. They either wind up dead, maimed, injured.
So they never get off the program?
Or they die from cirrhosis. No, what it is, you know, these street dudes' goal is to get on SSI.
And the program has mushroomed from 4,600 alcoholics and addicts 8 years ago to 78,000 today, at a cost to taxpayers of almost $400 million last year. Social Security does try to prevent abuse by sending monthly checks, usually about $446, to third parties called payees, like this Denver clinic.
SSI.
SSI.
Okay. Where are you staying?
Motel 5.
Motel 5. And I want that receipt, too.
Social workers here make sure the addicts pay their rent and often dole out their money gradually so they don't blow it all on booze or drugs. But most payees are simply the addicts' friends or relatives. And Cote says he can't believe where the government sends some checks.
I know that some of them will be sent to bars, liquor stores, and, you know, a 10-year-old child could figure out if someone is on this program because they're an alcohol or drug addict. You certainly wouldn't send a check to the bar.
23-year-old Penny also learned how to beat the system. Her SSI check now goes to the Home for Women where she lives in Michigan. But last year, Penny, an alcoholic and drug addict since age 13, moved out for a while and drank her check away.
I just took my money and going to the bars. I'd buy a case of beer every day till my money was all gone and I was broke.
She just called Social Security and had me switched off as payee and then named her friend, who was also an alcoholic, who was willing to spend the money, use it in their drinking sprees.
My payee representative went with me while I went to the bar, and I'd buy her drinks and buy her boyfriend drinks.
Penny finally cleaned up, and the Home for Women is again receiving her checks. But there's a whole other group of addicts on the SSI rolls who are getting checks with no strings attached. People like Ray. Though he's an alcoholic and drug addict, he qualifies for SSI because of a mental illness, which means his checks go directly to him.
What do you do with your checks when you get them?
I get a couple of friends of mine. We go get a motel room, get drunk, smoke a little weed.
That's
do
it?
A little cocaine. Yeah. It's gone in 2 or 3 days.
Do you think the government is expecting you to do that?
I don't think it's none of their business.
Ray is among the 170,000 addicts getting their SSI benefits for other disabilities and sometimes drinking, snorting, or shooting them away. So add them to the 78,000 already on SSI. That brings the number of addicts on federal disability to 250,000 and adds $1 billion a year to the taxpayer's tab. And remember, no one monitors how most of these addicts spend your tax dollars. But there are rules for those like Penny, on the rolls for addictions. They must be in treatment when it's available or be cut off. But that rarely happens. In fact, very few addicts get treatment. According to some government reports, the majority of alcoholics and addicts on SSI, somewhere between 60 and 90%, are not getting treatment at all. The heroin user we met has been on SSI for more than a year.
Did anybody ever say to you, you need to get treatment or else you won't get these checks?
No, nobody ever told me that.
And did anyone from the government contact Penny when she was on her binge?
No one checked in to see if I was going to treatment.
They should be cut off if they're not following the treatment plans and the help that's available and offered.
Addiction therapist Tom Anderman will testify before Congress tomorrow that SSI must get tough with addicts.
With the federal government guaranteeing the check is in the mail and it's going to be there the first of the month, every month, no matter what you do, how can I talk to the person, get their attention, and say, look, we want to get you into treatment?
Officials here at the Social Security Administration wouldn't talk with us on camera because of tomorrow's hearing. But they admitted to us they have not done a very good job of monitoring the addicts so far. They say they plan to change that. One solution some people in the field recommend, pay addicts with vouchers, not cash.
Using plastic. Do not use money. You see? And as long as the apartment owner or the grocery chain is getting reimbursed by these receipts, sure, it would work.
But also needed to make the system work? More treatment.
Getting treatment is a very serious problem in this country.
Al Guida is vice president of the National Mental Health Association.
There is a waiting list, I think, in the 50 states combined of over 100,000 people in the United States who are voluntarily attempting to seek substance abuse treatment and are not able to get it.
The only thing everyone agrees on is that something must be done to fix SSI.
I want taxpayers to understand your take-home pay is smaller because the federal government is giving drug addicts money to go buy cocaine with. It happens in Michigan, it happens in California, it happens in New York, and it has to stop.
And we've just received word tonight that because of a snowstorm in Washington, congressional hearings have been postponed until Thursday. When Social Security administrators testify, Dateline has learned they'll promise to have an improved system in all 50 states by October. It's said to include regular drug testing and the monitoring of treatment. We'll keep an eye on this story.
Still ahead.